Good day, I'm Kendis Gibson at ABC News headquarters in New York with this ABC News digital report. Breaking news today out of Roswell, Georgia. Police are reporting that a 911 fire and rescue response called to the home of Bobbi Kristina Brown, the only daughter of late singer Whitney Houston. The 21-year-old Brown was found by her husband and a friend in the tub, unresponsive. Life-saving measures were taken and she was rushed to the hospital. In other news, Americans are bracing for round two in the Northeast. They're still digging out from as much as 3 feet of snow from the blizzard of 2015. At least 2 men in Massachusetts died from shoveling snow. In Providence, Rhode Island, those unable to shovel are getting help from volunteers. And now forecasters are warning that another storm system gathering steam. Close to 100 million people are in the storm's path, including Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, New York, and Boston. Forecasters say those cities could all see 6 to 12 inches of new snow accumulation by Monday morning. Also spreading across the nation, that growing measles outbreak. There are now 84 cases of measles reported in 14 states just since the start of this year. And that includes a frightening new case here in New York City. Health officials are confirming a Bard College student who has tested positive for measles was contagious on Sunday when he boarded an Amtrak train bound for Albany from New York City's Penn Station, possibly exposing hundreds of thousands of travelers in one of the nation's busiest transportation hubs. In the meantime, doctors in Arizona are scrambling to monitor hundreds of potentially infected people ahead of this weekend's Super Bowl. ABC's Neil Karlinski has more.
In Arizona, officials are monitoring 200 patients of a pediatric clinic for possible exposure. An infected woman visited the office outside of Phoenix just days before an estimated million visitors from around the country flooded the city for Sunday's Super Bowl. An infected person can spread the disease for days before its first visible symptoms appear. The virus lives on surfaces and in the air for up to 2 hours, meaning even after a sick person left the room, anyone without immunity could still be infected, leading some doctors to blame this outbreak on so-called anti-vaxxers, parents who refuse to have their kids vaccinated fearing unproven side effects.
We should be fully informed with what exactly is in each and every injection that goes into our child's body.
As schools warn their children to stay home, some pediatricians refusing to allow the families in their offices at all.
They're not welcome unless they decide to immunize. Those patients have a right to their opinion, but they just don't have a right to possibly infect my other patients who are vulnerable in my office.
Another childhood disease from previous eras that doctors thought they'd all but eradicated is apparently making a comeback at one college. University of Virginia students have been notified by email about 1 confirmed and 4 suspected cases of the mumps at that school. Mumps is another highly contagious virus that can cause fever, headache, muscle aches, and swelling, as well as tenderness of the glands close to the jaws. Serious complications, however, are rare. We are T-minus less than a day from one of the biggest sporting events of the year, as excitement and rivalries are heating up both on the field and off ahead of the Super Bowl on Sunday. The Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots have been hitting the practice field, and fans are facing off with destruction derbies as everyone pumps up before tomorrow's kickoff in Phoenix. And as for that high-powered halftime show, well, fans are pumped up over Katy Perry lighting up the stage with a mega star mystery guest. All she's saying is jaws will drop and faces will melt. Sounds interesting. And south of the border, the Eagles have landed, and we still don't know if a record has been set. 2 pilots have landed their helium-filled balloons safely off the coast of Mexico after a nearly week-long, 7,000-mile-long trip across the Pacific Ocean that set out to shatter 2 long-standing records for ballooning. The pilots landed 4 miles offshore in Baja California, about 300 miles north of the popular beach resort of Cabo San Lucas. Now, after setting off from Japan earlier this week, now it'll still be at least several weeks before government agencies can figure out whether the pilots actually broke any of those records they were trying to break. Well, that'll do it for right now. ABC News monitoring those stories and many more around the clock. To get updates on these stories, star them on the ABC News phone app. Cecilia Vega will have a complete wrap-up later on World News Tonight. I'm Kendis Gibson in New York. Have a great day.